1973 was a golden year for soul and rhythm and blues. Marvin Gaye was creating timeless love songs. Stevie Wonder was crafting albums that sounded like perfection itself. But while the legends dominated the spotlight, there were other artists who tasted fame just once and then vanished from the scene. Their songs broke through on the radio, filled the dance floors, and sank deep into the memories of a generation, only to fade into obscurity as the years passed. Today, we travel back in time to rediscover 10 forgotten one-hit wonders from 1973. Songs you may not have heard in decades, but once you press play, they will transport you right back to the glorious days of the 70s. In mid-1973, a 12-year-old boy took the soul world by storm. Foster Silvers, the youngest member of the Silvers family group, released his solo single Misdemeanor, and it became an instant phenomenon. Despite his young age, Foster delivered a playful falsetto over a bouncing bass line, clean funk guitar, and a groove that kept you on your toes from the first note to the last. The song was produced with the kind of polish that belied the age of its performer. The arrangements were tight and professional, the rhythm section locked in perfectly, and Foster's voice carried a confidence that seemed impossible for someone so young. He sang about romantic mischief with the charm of a seasoned performer, winning over audiences who could not believe what they were hearing from a child. The song quickly climbed to number 7 on the R&B charts and number 22 on the Billboard Hot 100, proving that you did not need much experience to create a timeless tune. Just spontaneity and a good sense of timing. The appeal of Misdemeanor did not stop in the 70s. A few decades later, hip-hop discovered it. From the D.O.C. to a slew of producers sampling its infectious groove, the song found new life in rap culture. For Foster himself, however, the spotlight only came once as a solo artist. Subsequent singles failed to make an impact, and his solo career quickly gave way to the greater success of the Silvers as a group with Boogie Fever in 1976. But Misdemeanor remains a testament to youthful talent and perfect timing. In 1973, the soul band New Birth from Kentucky burst onto the scene with the song It's Been a Long Time. The track opens with a lush string arrangement and swirling orchestration, then blossoms into a gorgeous harmony of male and female voices intertwining like old lovers reunited after years apart. The content revolves around nostalgia, but it is expressed with a fiery gospel intensity and the refinement of the soul sound of that era. From the first notes, the song calls listeners into a feeling of longing that is almost physical in its intensity. You do not just hear this song, you feel it in your chest. The production was sophisticated without being cold, emotional without being overwrought. The song quickly rose to number 4 on the R&B charts and number 26 on the Billboard Hot 100, giving New Birth a rare crossover peak. With more than 10 members, they were like a full orchestra packed with energy and color. It's Been a Long Time demonstrated that the power of a large ensemble could create a moment of pure magic. However, the group did not repeat this success on the Hot 100. Songs like Dream Merchant and I Can Understand, it remained popular in the R&B world, but failed to cross over to mainstream audiences. Therefore, It's Been a Long Time became the sole mark that brought New Birth out of obscurity, leaving behind a ballad imprinted with unforgettable yearning.
Did you miss me over the weekend?
In early 1973, a group of high school students from Chicago unexpectedly created a hit that captured the attention of the entire United States. The song was called Love Jones, and it came from a place of pure teenage emotion that listeners found impossible to resist. Against the backdrop of glamorous soul songs of the era, Love Jones felt like a diary entry set to music. Strange spoken word passages, sweet strings, a mesmerizing rhythm that pulled you in and refused to let go. The lead vocalist was barely old enough to drive, but he sang with a vulnerability that touched something deep in audiences of all ages.
For my actions afterwards, and the way I feel.
The song quickly reached number 3 on the R&B charts and number 16 on the Hot 100, even earning gold certification. For a moment, Brighter Side of Darkness stood alongside the legendary names of Motown, leading everyone to believe they were the next generation of Chicago soul. Critics praised their authenticity. Radio stations played them constantly. The future seemed limitless. However, the miracle was short-lived. Their follow-up single, I Owe You Love, failed to connect, and the group disbanded just a year later. Love Jones lived on, appearing on compilations and being sampled by numerous artists over the decades, but the band's name gradually faded into obscurity. This is a typical example of a one-song miracle. Youth blooming into a brilliant light for one shining moment, leaving behind an immortal slow jam that, Every time we hear it again, still makes us feel like we are reading our own secret diary. In mid-1973, when the charts were filled with sweet ballads and smooth soul, a Brazilian artist broke all the rules. Eumir Deodato, a master of jazz arrangement, took Richard Strauss's majestic symphony, made famous by the film 2001: A Space Odyssey, and transformed it into a vibrant jazz-funk number unlike anything anyone had ever heard. From its solemn opening trumpet fanfare, the track suddenly plunges into a solid drum beat, a fiery bass line, and sparkling electronic keyboards. The transition was shocking and exhilarating. One moment you were floating in the cosmos with Kubrick's astronauts, the next you were on a dance floor in New York City. The result was a hybrid monster of classical and funk, both elegant and danceable. Audiences were blown away by the audacity of it. The song shot to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, won a Grammy for Best Pop Instrumental Performance, and became one of the rare instrumentals to truly conquer the mainstream. Music critics did not know what to make of it. Some called it genius, others called it sacrilege. Everyone agreed it was unforgettable. Although Deodato later found great success as a producer for Kool and the Gang, that 1973 moment represented a personal creative peak. Also, Sprach Zarathustra proves one thing above all else. Music has no barriers if you dare to push against them. Even classical symphonies can be funked if you have the vision and the courage to try.
Many times her eyes fought back the tears.
Sometimes a song is like a love letter held in your hand, genuine, fragile, and unexpectedly finding its way into the hearts of millions. That is the story of the Canadian band Skylark and their 1973 ballad Wildflower. The song opens with gentle piano chords, followed by soaring strings and the warm vocals of Donnie Gerard. The lyrics compare a woman to a wildflower, resilient yet fragile, but strong enough to bloom even in the harshest circumstances. The gentleness makes the listener feel as if someone is whispering words of comfort directly into their ear. It is intimate in a way that few pop songs manage to achieve.
Let her cry, for she's a lady.
Wildflower quickly touched the hearts of audiences, climbing to number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 5 on Adult Contemporary. It was a rare success for a Canadian band in the American market at that time. Even more interesting, the song lived on long after Skylark disbanded. It was played at weddings, featured on anniversary programs, and even covered by Tupac and Jamie Foxx in the 90s and 2000s. But for Skylark, that magic only happened once. The band dissolved soon after, and Wildflower became their sole legacy. A soft and timeless ballad, proof forever that sometimes a single song is enough to make history. You do not need a catalog of hits to leave your mark on the world. In the summer of 1973, 4 guys from New York calling themselves New York City released I'm Doin' Fine Now, a song drenched in Philly soul sophistication but carrying its own distinct urban vibe. The production was immaculate, the harmonies were tight, and the whole thing felt like a warm summer evening in the city. It was a strangely uplifting breakup song. The lyrics were filled with sadness, but the melody was smooth and pleasant, as if turning a broken heart into a Sunday stroll through Central Park. There was acceptance in the music, a sense that pain could be transformed into something beautiful if you approached it with the right attitude. With production from Tom Bell, the genius behind the spinners and the stylistics, the song had all the elements of a classic. Lush strings, a silky groove, sweet falsetto mixed with the sophistication that made Philadelphia International famous. Bell knew exactly how to balance sweetness with substance, and I'm Doin' Fine Now showcased his talents perfectly. The song quickly reached number 14 on R&B and number 17 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming one of the most recognizable soul tracks of that year. However, New York City could not maintain the momentum of their success. Follow-up singles like Quick, Fast, in a Hurry and Happiness is only peaked in the R&B Top 20, failing to make a crossover mark. The group faded away quietly, leaving I'm Doin' Fine Now as their only lasting legacy.
Come over you.
Chicago has always been a hotbed of soul music, and in 1973, the Independents proved it with Leaving Me. It is a ballad crafted with finesse, featuring a smooth falsetto and harmonies reminiscent of doo-wop mixed with the polished Philly style. The combination was irresistible. Leaving Me is not just a breakup song, it is a confession. Every line comes from a broken heart laid bare for the world to see. The lead vocalist pours every ounce of emotion into the performance, making you believe every word. It is that honesty, that willingness to be vulnerable, that made the song explode onto the charts.
I wanna know, baby, I heard somebody say,
The track reached number 1 on the R&B charts, number 21 on the Billboard Hot 100, and even went gold. It was an impressive achievement for a relatively unknown group. At that moment, the independents seemed to have it all: the talent, the style, and the ability to connect emotionally with audiences. The future looked bright. But after that initial burst, follow-up singles like Baby I've Been Missing You failed to cross over beyond the R&B charts. By 1975, the group had officially disbanded. Their moment in the sun had been brief but brilliant, and Leaving Me remains as evidence of what they were capable of at their peak. In 1973, Sylvia Robinson took the soul world by surprise with Pillow Talk. It was not just a love song, it was a sensual experience unlike anything else on the radio at the time. Her breathy vocals and soft moans intertwined with a silky bass line and shimmering rhythm, turning the song into a slow jam that was both bold and seductive. Upon release, Pillow Talk exploded onto the charts, reaching number 1 on R&B and number 3 on the Hot 100. For many listeners, it was the first time they heard a female artist bring such raw sensuality to mainstream music. The song was controversial in some quarters, with radio stations initially hesitant to play something so intimate, but audiences demanded it, and programmers had no choice but to comply. The song also paved the way for the quiet storm genre that would dominate radio throughout the next decade. Artists like Luther Vandross and Anita Baker owe a debt to what Sylvia accomplished with this single track. She proved that intimacy could sell, that vulnerability was not weakness but strength. Sylvia did not repeat this success as a singer. However, she continued her legacy in an even bigger role, founding Sugar Hill Records and helping birth hip-hop with Rapper's Delight. But as a solo artist, Pillow Talk remains a singular moment, a one-hit wonder where sensuality became art. There are songs that are not flashy but still make you stop in your tracks from the very first note. In 1973, Ann Peebles did exactly that with I Can't Stand the Rain. With just a dry hi-hat rhythm, some electric piano chords, and a voice that was both cold and emotionally compressed, she created a storm of feelings in 3 short minutes. The listener feels like standing in front of a window, watching the rain fall outside, and realizing that each drop carries with it a longing, an inescapable loss. The minimalism sets the song apart from the other orchestral soul hits of the era. No horns, no sweeping strings, no massive production, just bare pain exposed to the elements.
Everything was so grand.
The result was remarkable. The song reached number 6 on R&B and number 38 on the Billboard Hot 100. John Lennon himself praised it as one of the best songs he had ever heard. Coming from a Beatle, that was no small compliment. Peebles had created something that transcended genre and spoke to universal human experience. While Ann Peebles had more R&B hits after that, it was this song that cemented her name in history. More than 2 decades later, Missy Elliott revealed that she sampled that melody in The Rain Supa Dupa Fly, proving that I Can't Stand the Rain is more than just a sad love song. It is a timeless masterpiece that every generation finds itself in.
Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
In 1973, when soul music was typically filled with orchestras, horns, and elaborate backing tracks, Timmy Thomas did the opposite. He only needed an organ, a monotonous drum machine rhythm, and a soulful voice to create something extraordinary. The result was Why Can't We Live Together, a song that sounded simple on the surface but carried the weight of an entire era. Against the backdrop of the Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement, Thomas's repeated question resonated as a global plea for peace and understanding. Why can't we live together? It was not just a song lyric, it was a genuine question that millions were asking themselves. The simplicity of the production only amplified the power of the message.
Together. Why can't we live together?
That minimalist approach made the song a phenomenon. It reached number 1 on the R&B charts and number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was not just a hit. It was a statement of peace delivered by a single man with an organ. No elaborate production, no expensive studio musicians, just truth. The influence of Why Can't We Live Together extended far beyond 1973. Many subsequent artists, from funk to synth-pop to 80s house music, drew inspiration from Timmy Thomas's bold minimalism. He proved that you did not need a full orchestra to move people. Sometimes less really is more. Sadly, Thomas never recaptured that magic. Why Can't We Live Together remains a singular moment, simple, emotional, and absolutely unforgettable. These 10 songs are not just one-hit wonders. They are precious snapshots of the spirit and creativity of 1973, a year when music was constantly pushing boundaries and artists were willing to take risks. If any of these songs brought back a memory or made you want to explore the forgotten corners of 70s soul, share this with someone who needs to hear these hidden gems. And tell us in the comments which song surprised you the most.